Welcome to V is for Victory, a podcast about how small businesses overcome big battles. I'm your host, Jill Miller of Vera Creative, a boutique marketing firm in the Chicagoland area where I'm also a part-time professor of an advertising course. Join me as I talk with entrepreneurs about the challenges they face as well as their strategies for success. Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode. I don't have a guest today, it's just me, and that's on purpose. I feel like, there's just so much that I feel like you guys can learn from in terms of my mistakes and how not to's and things that I've just been thinking about lately. So I thought I would get on and share. The first reason I don't have a guest today is not for lack of offers. I get a lot of people who contact me who want to be on the show. Actually, their podcast managers contact me. I actually have very little contact with the actual guests prior to them jumping on the call. But I feel like, I just feel like the quality of the content has not been to the level I want it to be at. And that's partially my fault, just because I'm working from home with a 4-month-old baby who's usually in the room when I'm recording, and to actively be listening to somebody while they're talking in order to be able to ask intriguing and in-depth and authentic follow-up questions when your mind is half on your newborn and half on your podcast guests is really hard. I mean, most of us, when people talk, we just do surface level listening anyways, but that's not what I want when my guests are talking. I want to go deeper. I want to figure out why they're saying what they're saying, what experience led to them saying what they're saying, or led to the experience that they have. So that's part of it. But then I think the other part of it is, like, a lot of people go on a podcast because they just want to promote. They want to promote themselves as a speaker, promote themselves as an author, promote themselves as a expert in this and that or the other. And there's really very little how-to in that content, and just a lot of, like, here's what I did. And it's a lot of repetitive, well, I worked really hard. Okay, well, if people wanted to work really hard, they would work really hard. That's the bottom line. People would work super duper hard. They'd have 10 million jobs, and they would figure out what it is and how it is to be the most successful possible. And everyone would be rich or, ultimately happy, or whatever it is that their goal is in life. So I feel like telling somebody that you outworked everybody or you work harder than anybody you know is sadly not inspiring. Should it be? Yeah, probably. Should motivate people to get up and utilize their talents and share their gifts with the world. But in reality, does it? Obviously not, because there's still a lot of couch potatoes out there. There's still a lot of struggling entrepreneurs. Hell, I'm one of them. So I feel like that is unhelpful. I think every guest I've ever interviewed has talked about their mentor. I agree, more great advice, but if you're like me, where do you find a mentor? Do you walk up to somebody like, oh, hey, can I be your mentor? Will you be my mentor? Like awkward. I know, like, for those of us who believe in a higher power, you can pray for such things, and but I think so many of us are just like so zoned out, so numbed out, so in routine, so distracted by this and that and the other, that even when opportunity knocks, we don't hear it. And the door remains closed. And so again, go get a mentor, I feel like, is still not that practical start out advice. Not to mention, a lot of my guests don't talk about it, and I don't know if they pay these mentors or pay these experts, but I'm just like, I've never paid for a podcast or paid for a webinar. I've never taken a master class, or, which is just like a rebrand of the word webinar, in my opinion. But again, I think I mentioned this in a previous episode, where it's just like, I don't know, I find so little value. And the person who's running the show could then turn it back on me and say, oh, well, it's up to you what you do with that information. But the information is repetitive and unhelpful, and if you're like me, your approach to helping a business, every single time I work with a client, something I do completely different things for them. Nothing I do is canned. Everything is related to their brand and who they are at their core. And does it make sense for their geographical location, the personality of the owner, the price point of what it is they're offering, the level, the experience, like what do people experience when they work with or use this service or product. Every decision I make is so tailored to my client that I cannot possibly listen to somebody else and replicate what it is that they tell me to do and have it be successful. Or I can't simply replicate the things I do to help my clients be successful to be successful myself. Trust me, I've tried. I'm like, wow, this works so well for my client. Let me see if it works for me. Fail. It's actually incredible if you think about it. It truly is. So those are just kind of some of the things that were like on my mind and on my heart. And, I go back and forth and I'm like, should I continue the podcast? Should I not continue the podcast? I would love to get a sponsor in here, just to help pay for some of the costs, because there's hosting fees and editing fees and, not to mention my time. You wouldn't believe like the lack of follow-up. And I think it just goes to show where a lot of business owners make mistakes. Like if you go on a podcast and promote your show or promote your book or promote yourself or speak as an expert, at least do a little bit of marketing and a little bit of sharing of that episode. I try to do a lot of lead up for my guests, but prior to the episode release, sound bites on Instagram, Facebook, on Alignable, LinkedIn. I post on YouTube. I post the interview audio on YouTube. Obviously the podcast itself is on SoundCloud, Apple, Google, Spotify. Like that all takes time. It all takes effort. And it's just amazing at the people who come on the show and you never hear from them again. I'll follow up with a link to the episode so that my guests can hear it before me. Many of them don't even bother responding. I've asked for addresses because I'm old school and I like to write thank you notes, and many of them don't bother responding. I told you about that. I think I told you guys the disastrous episode where I was trying to use a new recording method and I lost the audio and I don't have the recording method anymore. And I emailed the guests and they offered zero grace, no offer to re-record, which is fine. I don't expect that. That's another hour out of their day. But really, if you are so busy and so popular that you can't take an hour out of your day to re-record someone, why do you even need to be on podcasts if you're that successful? You know what I mean? Like, you probably don't even need to be on the show. So there's that, but then there's just the rudeness, I guess. I'm going to flat out say it. Like, it's rude. I felt awful about it in the first place. And then to not even get a response to say, hey, did you record it? I said, hey, did you record it on your end by any chance? And to not even get a response or oh, that's a bummer. I'm sorry that happened. I guess I was like seeking their approval or forgiveness. So again, like that's on me, but it just seems like there's some basic etiquette that people don't adhere to. Yeah. And I guess I want to say, like, the point of all that is when you're starting a business, when you are in the middle of a business, like no matter what life cycle your business is in, don't miss opportunities. Listen for the knocking at the door. Open the door. And this goes along with what I was saying in my last podcast, which, is it out yet? I think it is already out. And see, I feel like my heart's just not even like in it right now because I don't even know. Normally I would be like so pumped, like, woohoo, episode release day. This is awesome. I'm so proud of this conversation. But I was like not even that proud of the last conversation. So anyways, I was mentioning how I'm trying to like spread the Popup Power yoga movement. When I taught at the wildflower farm, it was pretty successful. In 4 or 5 weeks, we had over 60 new people come to the business, come to the yoga classes. And I mean, hey, again, if you're so big and wonderful and grand that you don't want 60 new people being exposed to your business firsthand in person, kudos to you for being so successful. Seriously, honestly, if you don't need 60 new people, awesome. However, that's not the reality that I live in. That's not the reality of a single one of my clients or my friends who are entrepreneurs or even people I know who work at 9-to-5 jobs. Like if my husband in his sales role got 60 potential new clients, it would like literally triple his commission, maybe even more. Who knows? It would be gigantic. So, again, everything's relative, but even if you're selling t-shirts, what's 60 new orders? Even maybe you're selling coffee. That's 60 more cups of coffee that you didn't sell before. So as a business owner, why don't ignore something just because you might not like it or it might not be a fit for you. So I've reached out to so many business owners about having yoga in their space and how it can benefit them and introduce new people to their space. And again, I ask for a response. I say, whether it's a yes or a no, please let me know. And nobody even bothers to respond. So again, that basic etiquette and just politeness from people, I don't know what it is, but it's just gone this day and age. And it's always attached with excuses. I'm sure, I use excuses too. Oh, I've got a baby in the room. I can't focus, whatever. At the end of the day, I realize that is an excuse that is holding me back. Yes, I know that. I'm forthcoming about that. I feel like that's more authentic. Does it make it okay? No, not at all. But it's just so crazy to me that you would just not even respond to an offer such as that, especially when you're just a local, mom and pop shop. Do I expect Nike to let me teach in their stores? No, hell no. Okay. Could I even reach out to somebody that would even be open to the idea? Probably not. That email is going to get deleted faster than you could say delete. But at the same time, I'm talking about I'm reaching out local businesses, and everybody's always support local, buy local, but at the end of the day, they don't, and they don't mean it. And it's so annoying. So again, just things that are on my heart and on my mind, and things that I sit around and honestly think about during the day. Gosh, why doesn't this business owner see the value in this? Why don't they see the opportunity? Especially when there's no, with the yoga thing, it's no skin off your back. There's no cost involved for you. I'm insured. There's no risk involved for you. You might, a lot of times maybe we do something before or after typical hours. So what? You have to arrive to open up your business an hour beforehand. You can't clear, again, just 1 hour of your day to make it possible. I don't buy that excuse. I don't accept that excuse. So anyways, I have a contest going on right now. Nobody has entered. If you listen to the end of the holiday gift guide episode, I talk about it. I've tried to promote similar contests in the past, but people don't bite. I don't know if they think it's just not real, or they don't believe they're going to win, or the prize isn't valuable enough to them. But hey, if somebody wants to buy me a cup of coffee, I would let them. Maybe you guys don't drink coffee. I don't know. But then you have a gift certificate to give to somebody. I don't know. I just, okay, today I go rolling through to get my cup of coffee and it's pouring rain, okay? And so when I pull up to the pickup window, the guy opened the little window opened, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Are my windshield wipers like splashing the water in at you? And I pulled forward more so that my windshield wipers weren't like throwing water in the poor man's face. And he goes, you are so considerate. No one else is that considerate. He's like, thank you, as he's handing me my coffee. And to me, it's just like, that's how I think. Always one step more, one step further. Where could this lead to? How could this benefit someone? Is this harming someone? Is this annoying someone? Is this inconveniencing somebody? And yeah, I get it. Not everybody thinks like you, and not everybody thinks like me, but it's just an example. When you're an entrepreneur, try and get into that type of mindset. Everything is a potential opportunity. You never know where it might lead. Listen for